Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the life of a man you might think you know, but whose story is far more complex and fascinating than most history books let on. We're talking about James Madison, the fourth President of the United States, often hailed as the father of the Constitution. But was he just a quiet scholar who scribbled down some famous words? Not even close. Born in 1751 in Virginia, Madison was a bookish and often sickly young man. But don't let that fool you. Beneath that quiet exterior was a brilliant political mind, one that would fundamentally shape the course of a new nation. He devoured texts on history, law, and political theory, preparing himself for a moment he probably didn't even realize was coming. When the American Revolution broke out, Madison, though not a soldier on the battlefield, became a general in the War of Ideas. He served in the Virginia legislature and the Continental Congress, where he saw firsthand the fatal flaws of the Articles of Confederation. The central government was just too weak. It couldn't tax, couldn't raise an army effectively, and couldn't stop the states from squabbling with each other. Madison knew this couldn't last. The grand American experiment was on the verge of collapse before it had even truly begun. So, what did he do? He became the driving force behind the Constitutional Convention of 1787. He wasn't the oldest or the most famous delegate there, that was Washington and Franklin, but he was the most prepared. His Virginia plan became the blueprint for the entire debate, proposing a strong national government with three distinct branches: legislative, executive, and judicial. It was a radical idea, and the debates that followed were intense, lasting for a sweltering summer in Philadelphia. Madison was in the thick of it all, speaking over 200 times and, crucially, taking meticulous notes that are now our primary source for understanding how the Constitution was forged. But getting the Constitution written was only half the battle. Getting it ratified or approved by the states was an even bigger challenge. Many feared that this new powerful government would trample on their rights, just as the British monarchy had. To counter these fears, Madison, along with Alexander Hamilton and John Jay, penned a series of brilliant essays known as the Federalist Papers. Writing under the pseudonym Publius, Madison argued passionately and persuasively for the new framework, explaining how its system of checks and balances would protect liberty, not destroy it. These essays are still considered some of the most important works of political philosophy ever written. And Madison's work wasn't done. Once the Constitution was ratified, one of the first orders of business for the new Congress was to address the concerns of those who still feared a tyrannical government. Madison, initially skeptical of adding a Bill of Rights, came to see its political necessity. He took the lead, sifting through hundreds of proposed amendments from the states and condensing them into a concise list. He masterfully guided 12 amendments through Congress, 10 of which were ratified, and became what we now cherish as the Bill of Rights, protecting our fundamental freedoms of speech, religion, and assembly. As president, Madison's legacy is more complex. He led the nation through the tumultuous War of 1812 against Great Britain, a conflict that saw the burning of the White House itself, but it also saw the United States hold its own against a global superpower, fostering a new sense of national identity and pride. James Madison. His life shows us that leadership isn't always about being the loudest voice in the room. Sometimes it's about being the most prepared, the most thoughtful, and the most dedicated to a cause greater than oneself. He was a visionary who built the very scaffolding of American democracy. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey into the life of James Madison. If you found this interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history. Let me know in the comments which historical figure you'd like to see covered next. Until then, stay curious.